the Thundering Hordes list, what they do, and the Vibe Wave is here. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by humans trying to vibe with AI, and brought to you by No Desk, helping music, technology, and finance companies navigate the music industry, and partnered with Digital Music News. I'm Lars Murray. It's July 21st, 2026. It's Tech Tuesday, but before we geek out, sometimes it seems like Billboard has a list for everything. Power players, female power players, labels, distributors, indies, majors, yada yada yada. Though in my humble opinion, the set never will be really complete until they dig deep into the bowels of the industry and honor the people who do the real dirty work. I've never seen a Billboard Top 50 road managers or 30 executive assistants under 30, but I'm not holding my breath for that. Billboard does, however, honor the industry's thundering hordes of litigators with a list of their own. They didn't limit it to 30 or 40 or 50. They just called them top lawyers. Good move, Billboard. It's actually a very long list. A shallow money trench where thieves and pimps run free needs thundering hordes of, if not litigators, at least lawyers of every stripe. Nonetheless, not everybody is on it, but it does have some utility, if only as a reminder of who's playing for what team these days. As usual, too many old friends to list them here, and remarkably, I don't see a lot of enemies there, but a shout out to a few of my favorites for making the list. The dynamic duo of Liz Moody and Lynn Gonzalez over at Granderson de Rocher, Eliot Resnik over at Rains Feldman Luttrell, Digital OG Chris Castle, and my occasional protector, Gary Gilbert of Monot. Congratulations, everybody. All right, let's geek out. What do these thundering hordes do all day? Well, one of the things always keeping people on the list employed is AI, and there's always major labels, and there's always the infringe and settle strategy between labels and tech companies. Turns out that Sony Music and Udio are not just shy of the settle stage yet with each other. Remember, Udio has settled with and has deals with Warner and UMG. But Sony is doubling down. Over at Billboard, Rachel Scharf is reporting that Sony is expanding the scope of its lawsuit against Udio over infringement from a performative 333 works to a substantial 30,000, which increases Udio's potential damages exposure from a somewhat manageable $50 million to a $4.5 billion extinction event if it loses. That's how leverage works, people. At some point, the lawyers on the Billboard list involved will probably figure out a number somewhere between that 50 million and that 4.5 queeners, and Sony will join Universal and Warner in their deal, and Udio will attempt to survive some number of millions lighter in the wallet in their walled garden. And it's likely that this process just got sped up a little. Of course, Udio's strategy is to claim that its hoovering of copyrighted material is fair use. And, well, why wouldn't they? It worked for Anthropic, which successfully announced the idea that hoovering up books for use as AI training data was fair use, even if the way they acquired it was not. This resulted in a relatively small, for Anthropic, judgment of 1.5 billion, 1.5 queeners, which is finally about to get paid out to the plaintiffs, the authors. Whether this fair use argument holds up for Udio remains to be seen, but it'll give something for them to point to in their label negotiations. Kirsten Korosec has the story over at TechCrunch. The big new legal kerfuffle involving tech and entertainment this week, though, is the lawsuit filed by everybody's favorite New York sports owner, James Dolan, against Wired magazine for its expose on how the Garden uses facial recognition technology to punish its enemies. Basically, if you're one of the many people who hate Dolan badly enough to actually sue him, he doesn't want you in his house. Apparently, according to Wired, these personae non grata at the Garden included LGBTQIA activists. Now, on top of that lawsuit, state legislators in New York are getting involved to try and put the kibosh on this type of Big Brother intelligence tactic. It's gone from the city level, where current mayor and Nick fan Zoran Mamdani had been supporting the measure, to a state issue now being spearheaded by State Rep Tony Simone, who ended up on the Madison Spy Garden no-fly list. Ashley King had the stories of both actions over at Digital Music News. And here comes the Vibe Wave. Your YouTube and Spotify searches are about to get more accurate, and we're all about to get a couple of percentage points stupider. AI search is starting to find its way into the interfaces of the dominant music streaming services, Spotify and YouTube. Back in May at their I/O Developer Conference, Google announced that it would be applying Gemini AI technology to YouTube searches, so now a prompt might not be something like 80s British New Wave to something more like, find me a list of British New Wave hits between 1979 and 1982, but leave out the Spandau Ballet and Kajagoogoo. The feature's been rolled out to premium users, but last week, YouTube head honcho Neil Mohan announced it was rolling out to all YouTube users. Still haven't seen it, but we know it's on the way. Sudhanshu, Kumar, Mangalam had the story over at Yahoo Tech News, which, yes, is still a thing. Meanwhile, Spotify last week started rolling out a similar real language search option, which will certainly move folks toward more personalized listening. It'll also allow people to have a conversation with Spotify about what they're listening to. As we reported yesterday, there might be a little issue with the accuracy of what Spotify says about music. Just ask Lord. Music Business Worldwide had the story. Yep, Vibe Search is coming fast. It will change all of our behaviors in good ways and bad ways, but get used to it. As you probably know, I've got my propeller beanie on, or maybe my Patagonia vest, and I'm in week 2 of my MIT Agentic AI Transformation class. Last week, we learned about how much all this stuff actually cost. You can go back to last Tuesday if you missed that. This week, we got our sleeves rolled up and started to build stuff. Before the course, I'd actually built some simple recurring agents using Claude to retrieve research material for this podcast, but I haven't built a true agent yet. The first step on the way to that is a little vibe coding, which, if you haven't been paying attention, is basically the groovy new age term for coding using natural language rather than having to learn those complex programming languages. And yes, it is pretty easy to vibe code, but there's still some basic command level stuff that many of us have forgotten how to do that's involved in actually deploying that vibe code. It's pretty easy to learn, but if you're rusty, like me, it might take you, say, all afternoon to get it up and running. Anyway, vibe coding is here, and I suspected that the vibe coding term is quickly going to appear quaint, the way web surfing did, and it will simply become the way we live our lives every day. Again, here comes the vibe wave. Get used to it. And that's another Tech Tuesday. Support for Unlimited Supply is provided by you, and this week is my second annual birthday support drive. Yes, I want you to sign up for a year of support to get the limited edition Unlimited Supply Merit Badge trucker hat, which we manufactured in limited quantities by popular demand. But I'd also love you, too, if you like what you hear. For my birthday, please hit the follow button wherever you get your pods, and most importantly, Substack, and drop us a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. And please tell a friend or 3. For my birthday. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. I'm Lars Murray, and remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest.